All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Tatiana Calderon. We're about to get started with today's webinar. I just want to let you all know this presentation will be available at the end via our Facebook page and YouTube in a few days following the presentation. Unfortunately, we will not be able to have Spanish interpretation for our virtual viewers. So sorry about that. Just a few housekeeping notes. The recording in PowerPoint will be available as mentioned, and there is a poll at the end of this presentation for those that are joining us via Zoom. We encourage questions at any time, so please send in your questions. Just remember that this is a public forum, and we are broadcasting on Facebook, so we want to keep any private information private, and we'll begin in a few seconds. So I just wanted to share a few words about Synergia's Autism Initiative. The Autism Initiative project is funded by a grant from the New York City's Council under its Autism Initiative. This project supplements the work of Synergia's Metropolitan Parent Center by bringing increased awareness to New York City residents, particularly to communities with large Spanish-speaking populations, about the growing population of children diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Its strong outreach component targets families of children with suspected or known diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, ASD, who are not receiving appropriate educational, health, and other related services. The initiative will link them to other services and supports that meet the individual needs of children and families. So thank you so much for being here today. We're absolutely thrilled you can join us. And I will be handing it over to our presenter today, Ms. Carolina Liriano, who will be presenting on the bilingual special education programs for New York City public schools. Thank you, Carolina.
It turned off. Now, good morning, everyone. My name is Carolina Liriano. I am the Director of Bilingual Special Education Programs at the New York City Public Schools. I'm in the Specialized Programs team, and I am delighted to be here today to talk with you about bilingual special education programs and answer any questions you might have about this specialized program. A little bit about my background. I am a school psychologist by training. I worked in New York City Public Schools in districts 7 and 9 prior to transitioning to this role, where I now support with the expansion and supporting families in accessing bilingual special education programs citywide. So again, really excited to speak with you today and to reserve some time at the end for questions. So we can move right along. I want to start by going over our agenda and what we're going to be covering today. If we could just go to the next slide, the forward button. Is that working? Tatiana? All right. So if we just go to the agenda, so this is how we're going to begin our day. We're going to first start by defining common terms, right? I want us all to have a common understanding of what all of these different terms mean. I know that there's so many different names and titles and, just terminology for, in special education. And I just want us all to have a common understanding before we get started. Then we're going to go into what is bilingual special education programs, what makes these programs specialized, what makes them bilingual, what are the different types of bilingual program offerings, what are the different languages that we offer in these programs. Then we'll go into what are some of the considerations in the bilingual assessment process. This is a program that is IEP mandated, right? And in order to have an IEP, a student must qualify or be classified as having a disability. And so in order to do that, a student first needs to be evaluated. So what is the process of assessing a student? What are some of the things that you want to see or that are happening when a student is evaluated or assessed in the DOE? And then finally, once the student is evaluated and recommended for the program, what is the process of getting into this program once it is recommended on your child's IEP? It is a specialized program. It does not exist in every school. And so what is the process of getting your child into a school that can offer this support. So if we could just go to the next slide. So let's again start off by, defining the terms that you'll be hearing throughout the presentation, just so that we all have a common understanding. So let's start off with multilingual learners or English learners. Multilingual learners or English learners are students who are developing proficiency in multiple languages. This includes students learning English as an additional language in school. They're often referred to as English learners or English language learners. Typically, students who are recommended for bilingual special education are English learners. They're in the process of acquiring a new language, and this is why they need the support of a bilingual teacher in a special education classroom. Now, what is a bilingual program, right? Bilingual education is one in which academic content is taught in two languages. For example, English and Spanish, or English and Mandarin. So you have a classroom, whether it's, a bilingual general education program or a bilingual special education program, where academic contents, that is English language arts or home language arts, science, social studies, math. These are academic subjects that are being taught in both languages in a very structured way. This is what makes programs bilingual. On the other hand, we have monolingual programs, and this is an educational setting that provides instruction in only one language. In New York City DOE, in New York City public schools, for the most part, this is going to be in English, right? Now, the next term is home language. Home language is the language that is spoken at home by parents and extended family members, often referred to as the first language or the native language. So when we're talking about a student that has a home language other than English, we want to be conscious of that and be considerate of that as we are evaluating the student, so that we are considering their skills in both languages. And then finally, a term that you are probably all aware of is Individualized Education Program, or IEP. And as you all know, the IEP is the plan or program that is developed to ensure that a child identified with a disability receives special education services and supports, such as specialized instructions and related services. The IEP contains specific information about a child and the education program designed to meet their unique learning needs. A very important component of this term is individualized, right? It's supposed to be individualized to the student's particular needs. So very important for us to make sure that we, capture that from that definition. So this is the list of terms, and then we're just going to dive right into what is bilingual special education. So English language learners with disabilities recommended for bilingual special education have very unique learning needs that are coming from their disability, which is impacting how they are acquiring the English language, right? How they are learning the new language. Bilingual special education programs are very unique in that they allow the teacher or teachers to meet the needs of the students by using the home language as an instructional tool in a special education program. So if we're talking about a student that speaks Spanish, the teacher will be bilingual English and Spanish and will be able to support the child in both languages as needed. So this is what makes bilingual special education programs unique. The bilingual special education program, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, is driven by the Individualized Education Program. It's IEP driven. That means that it is a program that is recommended on the IEP. The special education team or committee determines through bilingual assessments that a language other than English is required for the child, whether that's Spanish, Mandarin, whatever the home language is. If the education program or IEP determines this, then the student is eligible for a bilingual special education program. it is possible that the student's current school does not offer that bilingual special education program. And in that case, the student would need to transfer to a school with your consent and approval, of course, so that the student can have access to the program. And in those cases, the student is entitled to transportation, and we support families with the collaboration of the receiving school and the sending school to make sure that the student is routed in very quickly and efficiently. And when it comes to the breakdown of bilingual special education programs, we have integrated co-teaching classes and special classes, which can be different ratios, as you can see here. So the 12-1 means there's 12 students and one teacher. 12-1-1 means there's 12 students, one teacher, and one paraprofessional. And 15-1 is for our high schools, 15 students, one teacher. These are ratios for our District 1 through 32 schools. The ratios might look a little bit different in our District 75 programs, which also include bilingual special education. And then the bilingual program models, there are two of them. There is dual language and there are transitional bilingual education programs. These are two very different models, and I'm going to get into what the differences between these models are in the following slides. First, I want us to define the actual program, though, the special education programs. So as I mentioned, we have ICT, integrated co-teaching, and we have special classes. So in integrated co-teaching classrooms, these include both students with and without IEPs. Two teachers lead an ICT classroom, a general education teacher and a special education teacher. In a bilingual ICT program, both teachers can support the students in their home language and English. Both teachers are required to have this language proficiency. The teachers work together and collaborate to adapt and modify the instruction to ensure that the entire class has access to the general education curriculum. So both teachers are working together to ensure that the students understand the lessons that are being delivered. So this is what an ICT class, this is what the definition of an integrated co-teaching class. Now, in a special class, only students with IEPs are served. Special classes serve children whose needs cannot be met within the general education classroom, even if special education services are provided. So in a bilingual special class, the teacher can support the students in their home language and English. Again, this is what makes the BSE programs unique, because the teachers have this language capacity and ability to be able to provide instruction in both languages. Some, but not all, special classes may have a classroom paraprofessional or assistant. This additional adult in the classroom also is required to speak the home language of the students in a bilingual special class. Now that we've reviewed the types of special education programs, let's review the components of a bilingual education, right? So we've covered what the special education program actually looks like, the classroom configuration, the teachers. Now, what are the models of delivering instruction in two languages? We have two different models in New York City public schools. We have dual language programs and we have transitional bilingual education programs. In dual language programs, students are taught languages, English and their home language. The goal of this program is for students to be able to read, write, and speak in both English and their home language. In these classes, the home language and English are used equally. We like to say that the goal of this program is to be bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural. Okay, good. Transitional bilingual education programs provide reading, writing, and other classes in English and in the child's home language. As the student's English improves, time spent learning in English increases and time spent learning in the home language decreases. so that once the student is no longer identified as an English learner, he or she can exit the program. This means that, very different from the dual language program, the goal is English proficiency and to transition the child into a monolingual English classroom. These are some of the instructional practices that we see in our bilingual special education programs. So bilingual teachers who speak the same language as the students are available throughout the day to provide support in the home language and English. Teachers and classroom paraprofessionals work side by side to target the specific needs related to language and disability. So not one is more important, one is not more important than the other. They're both they're both targeted in this classroom, right? We're targeting the disability, we're providing the child
Yeah. Sorry. So sorry for everybody on Zoom. We were just having some technical difficulties, and those watching on Facebook, but we're back. So we're just gonna backtrack 2 slides just so everybody can get the information. Thank you.
we're sure that we covered the bilingual components, the dual language and TBE. I want to make sure that I'm not sure. Back. Back. Special class. Yeah, that's fine. I'm good with that. All right, so let's backtrack a little bit. I want to make sure that the content gets through to everyone. So let's start off by defining the special education programs, and then we're going to define the bilingual programs. So integrated co-teaching classrooms include both students with and without IEPs. 2 teachers lead an ICT classroom, a general education teacher, and a special education teacher. In a bilingual ICT program, both teachers can support the students in their home language and in English. So this is what makes a bilingual ICT special and unique, in that the teacher can support the students in their home language as well. The teachers work together and collaborate to ensure that the students are able to understand the lessons that are being delivered, whether that be through adapting or modifying the instruction or the lesson, just to ensure that there is an understanding across the classroom for both students that have IEPs and students that do not have IEPs. Special classes, on the other hand, only serve students with IEPs. Special classes serve students whose needs cannot be met within the general education classroom, even with the support of special education. So in a bilingual special class, the teacher can support the students in their home language in English, but some, but not all, special classes may have a classroom paraprofessional, and this additional adult in the class is also required to speak and communicate in the home language of the students, so that they can work collaboratively with the teacher to ensure that the students are understanding the content. I want to again call out that bilingual special education is the same across all districts, including District 75. Class sizes and ratios, meaning the number of teachers to students, are going to be different, right? So in District 75, the classes might be a little bit smaller than in Districts 1 through 32. Now that we've defined the special education program components of bilingual special education, let's dive into the bilingual program models, right? What makes the programs bilingual? There are two very different types of bilingual program models, two very different goals that these programs have. So we have dual language programs and we have transitional bilingual education programs. In dual language programs, students are taught in two languages, English and their home language, whether that be Spanish and English, or Mandarin and English. The goal of this program is for students to be able to read, write, and speak in both English and their home language. In dual language classes, the home language and English are used equally. The goal of this program is bilingualism, biliteracy, and biculturalism. On the other hand, we have transitional bilingual education programs, which provide reading, writing, and other classes in English and in the child's home language. The difference here, however, is that as the student's level of language skills increases, the level of support that the child receives in their home language decreases, so that by the time that the student is no longer considered an English learner, they will exit the program and go into a monolingual English program. So the goal of this program is a bit different than the dual language program, in that, we're looking for a child to eventually become English proficient and move on into a monolingual English classroom. These are some of the instructional practices in bilingual special education programs that I would like for you all to be aware of. So in bilingual special education classrooms, bilingual teachers who speak the same language as the students are available throughout the day to provide support in the home language and English. Teachers and paraprofessionals work together to target specific needs related to the student's language acquisition and disability. Students in a bilingual special education program receive instruction in their home language in different subject areas such as science, math, social studies. And they also receive the support of home language arts instruction in reading, writing, through vocabulary, literature, grammar in the student's home language, right? So we, like in the dual language programs that I just described, students are being supported with both languages. In one program, we're maintaining the home language. In the other program, we're making sure that we're only strengthening the English language so that eventually the student transitions out. And then finally, classroom environments in this type of program are welcoming of students who are learning a new language, with plenty of visuals, and bilingual classroom materials, classroom objects and stations are labeled to allow English learners to better understand their surrounding and understand the lessons that are being delivered in the classroom. These are some examples of visuals that may be present in bilingual special education programs. So pictured here are some anchor charts with vocabulary words that are used depending on the lesson. These can be displayed as reminders, before a lesson begins to make sure that there's an understanding of the prior learning that has taken place in the class before we go into a new lesson, right? To the right, you'll see a list of what we refer to as cognates in English and Spanish. When we're learning a new language, a cognate is an easy word to remember because it looks and means the same thing as the word you already know. So for example, animal, animal, right? Same exact spelling, same meaning, right? Or similar meaning, right? Like lion and león, where we just have a difference of one word. Crocodile, cocodrilo. So this is a very important tool that we can use when we're teaching students that are learning a new language so that they can easily compare and contrast and learn new vocabulary words with the words that they know already. This is just a continuation of some of the visual supports that we can find in a bilingual special education program. This is, for writing prompts, making sure that we're understanding the different steps when writing. And you will see that this is in Spanish and it's also available in English for the students to be able to visually refer to throughout the school day. Now we're going to review the considerations in the bilingual assessment process. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, right, in order to be eligible for this program, your child needs to go through the assessment process. And so how the purpose of this section here is to allow you to better understand this process so that you're prepared as you're going into it and you know what to expect. The IEP team at the school obviously will also be guiding you through this process and answering any questions you might have. So when determining language of instruction and services for students that are learning a new language, the IEP team, which includes you, the parent, must consider different things, different factors, right? These are some of the factors that we're considering. Most importantly, that there is a bilingual evaluation. There's an individualized evaluation that is tending to your child's needs in the student's home language as well as in English so that we can compare, right, the development of language in both. There needs to be a social history that's usually conducted by a social worker. We want to understand the student's level of proficiency in the home language. How are they using the language in the home? How are they using the language in school? What is the family's home language and the student's use of the home language and English, and how does that compare? What is the student's educational history, including, did the student ever receive bilingual services before they were evaluated, maybe in a bilingual general education program, or maybe in preschool, or maybe in their home country. These are all things that need to be explored so that we can understand the experience of the child and the skills that the child is coming to us with. What are the teacher's observations of the child's work in both languages, and how do those compare? The IEP team or some staff members in the school might conduct some informal assessments to try and get to know your child better. But last but not least, I want to focus on the parents' concerns and preferences. You are a very important of the IEP, you're a very important member of the IEP team, and I want you all to be aware of, you are a participating member, your voice matters, so don't be afraid to express concerns or don't be afraid to ask questions. This is what we're here for, to make sure that such an overwhelming process. You know, it can be an overwhelming process, the identification of a student with a disability, and we're here to serve you, right? We're here to answer any questions you might have, and you shouldn't be leaving that IEPT meeting with questions, right? If the meeting needs to stop and, you know, continue another day, that's something that can be done. Just, you know, we want you to have an understanding of what it is that is going on, what we're recommending, what your child needs, and why we're recommending what we're recommending. This is not a complete list of factors when we're recommending bilingual special education. Every student has their own unique experience, which is going to impact their need for bilingual services. So just something for you to keep in mind. After the evaluation takes place and we've taken into account all of these different factors, we arrive at the question, million-dollar question, which is going to be, is the student going to need bilingual instruction, or is the student going to be okay in a monolingual English program, right? And so if bilingual special education is recommended for the child, the IEP team will explain to you as the parent the different program models that are available to English learners with IEPs. They will review with you that the specialized programs may not exist in every school, and so that your child may need to transfer to another school in order to be able to access that program. The IEP team will be aware of where we have programs, and they'll be able to go through the list and share that with you at the meeting. And then just remember that even if your child needs to transfer, they will have access to transportation, and we'll work with you through that. Now, what happens after we receive a recommendation for bilingual special education? So during the meeting, the school-based team, such as the psychologist and social worker, will discuss the bilingual special education recommendation with you, whether it is available at the current school, and they may discuss possible locations of where the program might be available. Again, we encourage families to ask questions about the recommendation, express their feelings about a transfer to another school to receive services, any hesitation, any concern, so that they might be addressed at the IEP meeting. The IEP team will be able to share the importance of the services and the reasons why bilingual instruction has been determined to be the most appropriate recommendation for your child. And then you'll have an opportunity to visit the school with a bilingual special education program prior to accepting any offer that we make. If an offer is declined for whatever reason, the IEP team can work with you to explore other service options that might support your child in the current school, making sure that we're addressing not just the disability, but also the language needs of the child. And then, let's transition to another very important point, right? Like once a student has received a bilingual recommendation on their IEP, what happens? Does that mean that the student keeps this IEP recommendation forever? The language of service other than English forever? Absolutely not, right? So IEP teams, again, including you, the family, the parents, you should be reviewing the language of instruction for students recommended for bilingual services every school year during what we call the annual review process, or whatever reevaluation is requested or mandated 3-year review. As your child develops English language proficiency, as they become more comfortable, you know, in expressing themselves and academically in the English language, there will be an assessment of whether or not the student needs to continue in a bilingual special education program. So this is something that's constantly evolving. It's not something that we recommend and remains forever. Similar to other special education services, right? We want to see progress. So whether that be moving onto, you know, a different type of classroom with less support from, you know, fewer adults, or whether that means having a different language of instruction, changing from, you know, let's say the home language to English, we want to see change. We want to see progression. And this is why we review IEPs on a yearly basis. And finally, I'm just going to go over what the inquiry process is for students that have this type of recommendation, right? So if an ICT or special class program is recommended with a language of instruction other than English, your child is eligible to be placed in a bilingual special education program. After the IEP has been finalized with this recommendation, the psychologist or another staff member will contact our team to inquire about placement. And then you or your child's school may contact us or District 75, if it's a program in District 75, you may contact us at any time during the year to submit an inquiry or to ask for an update. These are our emails, which can also be found at the end of the presentation. And so you can follow up with us. We work very hard to make sure that we are identifying placements for every child that has a bilingual special education recommendation. And if, again, the recommendation or the recommended program that we offer is far from your home address, we will work with you to ensure that your child has access to transportation. And I want to go over what the technical steps are once you receive that offer. So if there is a BSE program that we can offer that's at a reasonable distance from your home, you're going to receive what's called a school assignment form. And with this form, it'll have the school's name, the address. With that letter, you can go to the school and you can register or visit the school if you want to explore just visiting the school prior to making a decision on registering. The second bullet, I've already covered, which again, if your child will receive transportation if needed, and if you're at a long distance from your home. For BSE programs in District 75, the BSE program may also be in a school other than your child's current school. And again, these students will also be entitled to transportation. And then finally, if we are unable to identify an available seat for your child in the program that is recommended with the correct grade and language and program recommendation, the student will be supported in the class that they're currently in the class that is recommended on their IEP, whether that's bilingual special class or bilingual ICT. They will be supported in a monolingual ICT or a monolingual special class with the support of a bilingual paraprofessional. And the purpose or the goal is to ensure that the student has support in their home language while still receiving the special education services that they've been recommended. And that is it. So I am happy to stay and answer any questions. I don't know how we want to handle this because I know we have some folks in person and some folks virtually. So if you want to.
So at this time, for those joined us via Zoom, you're more than welcome to ask questions in the Q&A or chat box, and we'll read them out loud for our presenter, Carolina. And for those that are in person, you're more than welcome to raise your hand. We'll pass on the mic and have them ask a question. For those on on Zoom or via Facebook, you could be able to hear as well.
¿Alguna pregunta?
Okay, so we have no questions in person. For those on Zoom, as I mentioned before, you're free to ask via the Q&A box or chat box. I'll be looking on Facebook to have if you have any questions here. We have a question from Ms. Martha. I'll translate for you. Basically, Ms. Martha is asking, would the presentation be available to translate? So, señora Marta, veo su pregunta. Las diapositivas no van a estar en español, pero podemos ayudarle a traducir los dispositivos después y van a ser enviadas por correo electrónico.
Tatiana, yo las tengo en español, te la puedo.
Ok, Carolina me acaba de decir que sí tiene las dispositivas disponibles en español, solo les enviaré esas dispositivas en español por correo electrónico. Gracias, señora Marta.
También quiero decir que from my Spanish speakers, I'll translate in Spanish at the end, but we conducted a presentation for families in May on, Yes. We conducted a presentation, a virtual presentation for families in May that was translated. I conducted the presentation in Spanish, and it's same content, probably more, more slides, and that can be found online on the DOE website. So it's not just the slides, it's like the actual presentation. It's a YouTube presentation, so I can also share that with you, Tatiana, so that you can share with everybody.
That would be great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Carolina.
Mhm.
Well, if nobody else has any questions at this time, you're more than welcome to follow up with me via email should you want to
Last
reach
slide.
out to
Last.
Carolina directly.
Yeah.
You can reach out to the BSc email, the special education email, or the D75 info email, or to me directly. I will be providing my contact information via follow-up email. And for those watching us via Facebook, thank you so much for watching us there. If you have any questions, you can reach out to our main Synergia page, and we'll try to get in contact with you. So thank you so much for everybody who's joined us today. Carolina, thank you for such a wonderful and informative presentation on bilingual special education. And for those on Zoom, just stay on for just a few more minutes just for a poll. We'd greatly appreciate your support. And thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.